We're live. Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. This is our fourth episode. Sorry.
What's up, y'all?
Yeah. What's up? No, we haven't been uploading a little. Well, we haven't uploaded last time, but we're back and we're excited to get this episode going. Last episode we talked about health with Camille, and we talked about taking care of God's temple. But today we're going to talk about something a little bit different. And we got Mr. Sid Bittner with us, but I'll let Joey explain a little bit more about that.
So today we got Brother Sid Bittner, a good friend of ours. Work with his dad, barbershop. And Sid, how old are you?
19.
He's 19 and about to get married in April.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. So
Oh yeah,
how do you
big
feel?
step.
You ready?
Yeah, not nervous.
There we
A
go.
little nervous?
No, I'm not nervous. Like
Okay.
right now, at least.
Yeah, right
Right
now.
now, it's good, it's
good.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, so the reason we have Brother Sid, he's 19, already starting his career, about to be married, and it's very kind of rare to see that. And we're not saying that no one else at 19 is doing this. No, we're not saying that. He's just the only one that I guess we personally know
Right.
that has started this.
Yeah.
And so, it's something, at such a low percentage nowadays that young people are doing that. And so, Sid, how does it feel being young and being ahead of a lot of not like older people, but just people our age in general? Like, how do you feel, bro?
I mean, I wouldn't call myself fully ahead, but
Right.
took a 2-year advanced program in high school, so I guess I would say like 2 years ahead. But I'm starting my career early,
Right.
Leeds.
And
Which is good.
You're working where at?
I am a service technician
Right.
or in a automation field. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, man.
That's good. And so we know that you're 19 years old. You've pretty much you've accomplished a lot.
He's pretty much finished like
Yeah,
what most
you've-
people are kind of still doing, still in school, and he's out of it already. Like
Finish the
like,
campaigns.
Yeah, bro, it's so like
Yeah.
to me, it's like it takes me back. Like I wish I would have done that.
Mhm.
Or I'm sure like a lot of people can say the same thing. Like,
Mhm.
man, I wish at 19 I already had it all, and all that. And so, to me, it's just a lot more rare nowadays. So to me, it's surprising, and I've been wanting to interview Sid for a while now, because it's it's just awesome how he's doing all this nowadays at 19, and he just turned 19, I believe. When?
October.
October, and
Yes,
we're in
sir.
January now, and so he's just turned 19, and like
Wow.
he's got
Young
lot,
buck.
a lot of pay,
Young
a
buck.
lot of
Yeah.
of him, man.
Yeah.
So, Sid, so like, what's next, bro? Like after marriage and whatnot, man. Like, what's
Just building career. So trying to take some business classes now, so I can accelerate where I'm at into project management role.
that's awesome.
Trying to start a side business.
Yeah.
Just to help have a little extra income.
Extra income, yeah.
That's always good.
Nothing wrong with that, bro.
Working in the real estate market, trying to learn that before I
Yeah.
try to get my real estate license.
Okay.
Try to do some stuff there.
And so what kind of discipline did you have to develop, man, at such a young age to be where you are today?
I feel like it was very hard. Had to say mature pretty quickly, which I ain't gonna lie and say I am mature, but there's times where I have to be, but 2 years it was 7. I woke up at 7, went to school at 8 to 2 o'clock, and then I worked 2:30 to like 12 to 12:30 at Chick-fil-A,
I remember that.
and have to go get home about 1 o'clock, study for some tests coming up. So I go to sleep about 2 o'clock.
That's right, bro. I remember.
Have to take a shower, stuff like that, and then I'd have to wake right back up at 7 and do the whole thing over 5 days a week,
Wow.
and then Saturdays just work.
How long was that routine going for?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah, straight
Man.
2 years.
So technically, what was like your time, I guess, off?
Time off with Tuesdays for church. I mean, I still had the school 8 to 2, and then after that I was kind of studying. So wasn't much time, but had enough time. Some days try to go on outreach, stuff like that when I could.
Right.
But it was a lot of discipline when it came to that. Just had to limit the screen time.
Yeah.
had to try to keep it like below like 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
Trying to just stay off that because had a lot, had a lot going on. So
Yeah. Do you think that like that discipline helped you as you like got older? That you developed during those 2 years?
I mean, I guess it would. I mean, I just got out of that kind of rambunctious cycle about I guess it'd be like 8 months now. So I was still trying to like get back to normal,
Okay.
normal life. But yeah, the discipline, pretty like advanced job I would say for my age. So I mean, it's a lot of responsibility. I kind of just had to like go into that, making sure I was able to wake up in enough time for everything, without having my mom help me or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Now that you said that, so did your parents? I'm pretty sure they had a huge part in that. So was that something that you developed on your own, or something that you looked out after your dad and mom, or
Did they push or encourage you to like do like where you're at today? Obviously, of course, give credit to your parents, but like how much that I guess at the end of the day, it's gonna be up to you, right?
Yeah.
Like they can tell you what they want to tell you, but I guess at the end of the day, hey, but you do how you want it,
Yeah.
So,
A lot of that, I don't know, I would say I would give pretty much all the credit to my parents. Just watching my dad, just go from pretty much poverty in Florida and stuff, coming up here. I think the story he told me had like $20 when he came up here.
Yeah,
And
I'll speak a little bit about that.
just coming up and just seeing pictures of an old cabin, had holes in the wall that he had to stay in. He would like go to his sleeping bag on the floor where there'd be a snake sometimes,
Oh,
or
man.
just
Didn't
like
he, like shower like in like the river or like the waterfall or something like that?
yeah, he had to use a waterfall when he came up here to
Wow.
take a shower.
Wow.
He had a
Really?
outhouse, no running water
Where
in
was
the
this
house. I think it was like North Burlington.
Okay. So this was here.
Yeah, it was here
It was in
after he moved
After
up
you
here.
moved, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he moved up here.
Yeah.
And just started working like odd jobs. Finally, guess when I was born, he started surveying, and then 2008 moved to barbering. But just seeing him be able to grow into the shop that he's in now, and I don't know, just all the maturity he had. At 18, he moved up here by himself. His
young
parents, yeah, pretty much same age. Moved up here with, like I said, $20, and had to make it.
He found a way.
Yeah, had to make it to where he is now. So, I've looked up to him through that, which pretty much everything, but in the whole just being so young and having to mature, it's very commendable. And just seeing what he's done and knowing that I can do the same. So
you had a really good like example for like what it is to be a man kind of thing.
yes, and just talking to people, like if you don't have that fatherly figure,
Yeah, it's very important.
it's very important to find somebody with the fatherly figure, no matter like if it's a minister in the church, just somebody that gives you good discipleship. Just not just somebody, but it has to be somebody who's chosen. I feel like if you
I know a lot of times that we can give credit to say pastor, ministers, different preachers that speak to us and teach us how to live right, but I feel like the main source is what's been shown you at home.
Yeah, and even if it's not good,
Yeah.
if it's good or bad, you still learn from it,
That's
or
what
you
it
still
is.
should learn. Try to strive, which I felt like always try to do maybe just a little bit better than what your parents did.
I feel the same.
Even if they were,
Same way.
even if they,
that's even their goal too.
Yeah.
That
So
should be.
you can have a better life.
yeah, I've personally thought about that. Just getting married, like kids is basically the next step after, which I'm trying to keep that maybe like 5 years, something like that. But still, like that would be the next step. So just like thinking about like, I don't know, it's kind of surreal because even though it's like so far away, at the same time it's not like
Right. Time will go by quickly.
it is.
And I heard someone say like there's no like like you saying in the next couple years have kids, you can prepare a lot to be a dad, but I feel like what a lot of people say is like no matter how much you save, you just won't be ready because like there's no manual to be a father. It's just I guess you just learn on the way.
Yeah.
And
I've heard that a lot.
yeah, it's like I feel like it's something you have to be like, okay, how I'm gonna be like, that's how my kids are gonna be. You kind of have to see yourself in that.
Yeah, but just going back to like looking at your parents, like even if you didn't have that good fatherly figure, I feel like there's still like you can learn how to like, oh, I'm not gonna be like that,
Right.
or if they were like an excellent father, excellent mother, you can still like there may have been something in there that I can do a little better, or I can either do the same way that really helped me.
I think
And
it's like up to you personally.
Yeah.
I feel, right?
yeah, there's generations go by and people like I feel like each generation just I don't know raises their kids differently. So it's I've had to think about that too. Like even though my my parents came up when they first got married, not as like fortunate and stuff like that. It's like you look back and it was like the Goodwill clothes that you had and all that stuff. It was like, are you still gonna do that for your kids, even though God may have blessed you more?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like you just think about like
right.
Those Goodwill clothes like made me who I am.
Right.
Yeah.
Which a lot of times is humbleness.
Yeah. Like I wasn't raised like I think I first got my pair like actual on brand shoes like in 7th grade.
Me
So
too. It had to be middle school, bro. Before that was light up Skechers. Before
Yeah.
that was light up Skechers.
Yeah, but the
Well, for me it was hand me downs. I had an older brother.
yeah
So,
the
yeah, that's-
the shoe aisle at Walmart was there for me for a while.
My shoes were Target, bro.
A little upgrade there.
It's true, man. Like
Yeah.
a lot of that, like it. So whenever you do, or whenever you are able to get what you really want, it makes you appreciate it more.
Mhm.
Instead of like, a lot of people grew up having a lot of things and they don't really take stuff. They don't really appreciate a lot,
And it shows.
Yeah.
and it shows
That's
like maybe picking on someone else that they don't have as much as you have.
Mhm.
Which is not entirely their fault, and maybe that's all they have. But that's something that good thing about too. Like
Yeah.
I could give my kids what they want, but I don't want them to be those type of kids who
Yeah.
pick on someone else because they don't have what they have.
Right.
And
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Even,
oh, go ahead.
You just think like at the end of the day, whenever you have kids, they're gonna be 18 one day, and
It's crazy.
you have to leave a legacy. Like I mean, I don't know. I've just started thinking about that now because, like I said, that's like
good.
the next step.
yeah,
But
that's good.
regardless, you're gonna have a legacy. Like whether that your child turns out good or bad, like ultimately you can father and parent all you want, but that child's gonna have the free will to do what they want. So like
Yeah.
you can give them as much good parenting as you want, but at the end of the day, like if they don't want to serve God, if they don't,
Up to us.
Yeah. if they don't
Go
want to,
individual
that
choice
path,
people
Mhm.
make. Yeah.
but it's I feel like getting having kids is a lot more scary than getting married
And-
at this point.
At
Like,
this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all of us have been given that choice. We
Mm-hmm.
chose to go the right path.
Mhm.
We might have said like, okay, well I'm gonna try it this way,
Mhm.
and it didn't go our way,
Yeah.
and we learned from it. But here we are today, in the church, still in church, and so but a lot of people choose not to do that.
Yeah.
And so
fun.
it does show, and your parents aren't stopping you, pastor's not stopping you. It's because at the end of the day, man, it's up to you.
I
And
feel like there's like an age where you're mature enough to
Yeah.
be like, okay, my parents taught me this, but am I gonna
yeah,
go towards that? Am I gonna listen to
Yeah.
that? Or even what pastor has taught us, and we'll just decide to see if we go through their paths or
and
our own path.
and even your parents know. Like at some point, I have to stop trying to force this onto them.
Yeah.
And know that they're an adult. Now it's you.
Yeah.
So,
And that's like I feel like the scary part because like getting married, you and your spouse, like you work through life together.
Yeah.
And with that child, it's like you are raising them.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of like, which I don't know, I personally feel you don't want to parent together. Or like you don't want to parent your kid together like you're like their best friend and stuff. I don't know. I feel like they don't turn out the best, but
Right. Yeah.
you don't raise the child with the child. You raise the child by yourself or with your spouse.
Yeah.
But they don't really have that input. As well as like a couple.
right.
You get to do it together. So it's like you're leading that person's life.
Mhm.
So I mean it's pretty scary to think about.
And as the man of the household, hey, I guess in scripture it's the man is the head of the.
It's
Yeah, the
God,
head of the
it's
household.
God,
And
then
so,
man,
so
and
you're
then
gonna be
woman.
the one leading, bro.
Yeah.
So it's all of us, men,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and so yeah, so it's good that you think of that now. That way you can do that parenting.
Yes, sir.
And is this something that of course we know who you're engaged with Rachel. Is it something y'all talked about? Like how in the future y'all want to raise y'all's kids and stuff like that?
Yeah. We've talked about that. Was almost like one of the first things we talked about before we started actually dating. Because I knew I never wanted to like waste time in a relationship. So like trying to get that strong basis off of like, okay, we're equally minded here, and maybe we don't agree on the here, but is that where we don't agree enough to change my mind? You know, communication was, I feel like, is our strongest suit. Like we never try to go to bed mad at each other. We try to work it out right then and there. But the communication, like when we first started talking, just kind of what I've learned from previous relationships and stuff, have really like shaped, I feel like, who I am today and how I actually involve myself in the relationship with my fiance now. But that was one of the first questions. It was like, how are we going to raise our kids if we continue to move on in this path?
And also, what are y'all doing in the church? Like you and your fiance, are y'all gonna be doing something together, like working there together?
So right now, she has a van rental, and I have started helping her. So when we get married, I'll be like full-time van. Right now, it's just like helping her on the follow-up and the outreach for the van route, and occasionally helping drive or ride and stuff like that.
Right.
But in April, after that, we'll take a little break from the van just for a little bit. But gonna be going. I'll hopefully be the driver and then stuff like that. So we'll be doing it together.
That's good, bro.
And I'm excited about
that. Work within the kingdom, bro. That's like one of the best things.
So whenever you were just telling
Wait,
us.
before we get there, I want to talk about something real quick. I kind of want to go back to like that whole like a father discussion we were talking about, because I feel like because nowadays it's very noticeable that like there's an attack on the patriarch, like the fatherly figure for kids, and especially in this generation, where it's like, oh, let's promote this, let's promote like instead of being about, the hierarchy is God, man, and then woman.
Yeah.
So nowadays it seems to be a hierarchy of woman, and then maybe God, and then man. It's like
maybe.
it's like they want to like, it's like people want to completely twist that.
Oh yeah, there's definitely an attack on, I would say, the fatherly figure in the household. Started like, I mean, it started way back, but like just the whole like leaving your spouse, which, I mean, a whole big thing that gets really into, if you really get into the root of that, is fornication. So you really get into that.
It's pleasure.
Yep,
pleasure.
leads to a child most of the time.
Yeah.
And when you don't like that person, don't feel like y'all can make it, you quit and you leave, and that is where I feel like the fatherly figure attack on humanity has happened, which is, as much as we want to look at it physically, it's more of a spiritual battle.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, like David was saying, it starts right at your flesh, and if you can kill that every day, you can kill what the spirit, or evil, what hell basically is trying to attack on the earth.
So Paul said, "Die daily, man.
Die daily."
Each day is a fight.
Bro.
Yeah. So it's just, I kind of wanted to bring that up because, like, you mentioned that you had a really good fatherly example.
Yes.
And I feel that that's, if you don't have a father, if you don't have this or that, you can find because I was reading a book as well that talks about a mentor.
Yeah.
Which is a fatherly figure. Because if you have a goal in mind, right, you should look for a mentor that is already there.
Yes.
Is already there at whatever goal you're trying to get at.
Yeah.
So for you, it seems that your goal was, at least let me try to be, if not as good as my dad, let me try to at least try to match that, or even better.
To do better.
Right. And so I feel like that's a very important as a man. Like, a very important thing that I don't think young men really hear that anymore.
Yeah.
No,
If you
I
really
don't.
look at
Yeah.
the hierarchy in the Bible, I mean, it really is like
It's in Genesis. It's in
Yeah,
the high.
it is. I mean, of course, you got God first, but when
Exactly.
you get down to it, the man's first and the woman is second, and that's not, as much as society tries to make equality, and obviously, equality is a good thing, but
Yeah.
spiritually, like, I don't know, I feel like you won't survive with a woman fatherly figure, if you want to say that, like. And that's no attack on if you didn't have a father and if you're raised by your mother, but I don't, a woman figure in your life is never gonna replace a father,
No,
never.
no, because
And-
a mother can't teach their son how to be a man.
Yeah.
You know, the
You
man
can't.
has to teach your son how to be a man.
And that's, I feel like, why we've had so much attack on gender identity as well, because with the attack on fathers, that leads to the mothers raising that child, and when they can't teach that child to be a man, that child wants to be more feminine. And it's like, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's a lot
Most
more
likely.
it's more likely to happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No,
And
that's
we're,
very true, bro.
yeah, and we're not saying that if it's impossible to be a man if you're raised by.
Oh, definitely not.
It's not, but it's infinitely more harder to do that.
Yeah.
But
Because you don't see that every day.
exactly.
You don't see, okay,
Right.
how does a dad have to be? Because,
Mhm.
but I guess having a mentor, like you said, can help
Mhm.
with that.
Yeah, and that's it's the reason a lot of people I feel like would give into gangs and
Mhm.
stuff like that is because they're trying to find that sense of identity,
Exactly,
that
that's
sense
exactly
of
right, yeah.
fatherlyship.
Even a lot of athletes, bro, their head coach,
Mm.
they've all, like a lot,
Yeah.
not every athlete, but a
Right.
lot of athletes have said, my head coach this and that, he was my father figure.
Mhm.
The only skill I had was sports, so that's all I followed, and he was the one who would teach me this and that. And I hear it a lot in
Mhm.
athletes and stuff like that.
Yeah, because the father is made to teach you what you need to know. When you don't have that, you're just gonna look for pretty much anything because you don't have that. I feel like a roadmap, if you want to say that,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a good way to put it.
steps
Yeah.
into becoming a man.
Right.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say that becoming a man is like per se like isn't an age limit. I feel like you can be
no, it's
a
more
man
of a
at any
mentality.
age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we go back in time,
Yeah.
I feel like the age. Someone was preached about this too. Can't remember who. Stating that back then a man was considered between
12.
the ages of
It
12,
was 12. Yeah.
and I think whenever they hit their
Yeah.
teenage.
Well, you became an adult after you were like 12.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah, I think it was. I can't remember very clear, but
So very
at a
young.
really young age,
Yeah. Really young.
you were considered a man,
Mhm.
already working, even having maybe a family already, or
Yeah,
Maybe.
that's
Who knows?
Yeah.
Probably.
ready to
Yeah,
have
probably.
family.
Yeah,
the age of marriage back then was around that age.
Yeah. That was very.
But like I said, it starts all by the flesh and the attack on fathers and stuff like that. We've seen people, and it's not just men in general,
No.
but even women. Because I feel like a daughter needs a fatherly figure too, because
Yeah.
you need to know what you need to look for in a husband.
That's true. Yeah.
Regardless if that fatherly figure is good or bad,
Mhm.
you will learn regardless of
Yeah.
what it is. But we've seen that age range of becoming quote unquote a man go from 12 to 25 to 30 now, just from attacks. And we can look at it physically all we want, but it's really a spiritual battle in itself.
I feel like also maturity is in the same level.
Oh, definitely.
Like some people say, at what age does someone have to mature?
Mhm.
I honestly think it's how they grow up too.
Yeah.
Like I think if you grew up struggling, it'll make you mature quicker.
Oh,
because,
yeah.
like, you're looking for a
Yeah.
way to get out of this or something. And so some people are like, oh, by this age I'm gonna be good,
Mhm.
whatever. Well, apparently there's like 30-40-year-olds out there that still don't got it together and like are still like childish and all that. So
Yeah.
I guess you put that in the same category, like with maturity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And same with father figures.
Definitely. I feel like you're able to mature a lot faster with a fatherly figure. regardless if that's your father or mentor
Mhm.
or somebody that you can look up to. But
Oh, yeah.
I feel like the gender of a male being that role is a lot better than having that female mentor in your life. And, that's not saying you can't have women that you look up to
Yeah.
in different aspects, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So as of course, what do you think of obedience? Was that a big part
Oh, definitely.
with your parents, even with your pastor, for you? Even right now, since you're engaged already, that obedience had to do a lot for you to be to where you're at now.
Yeah, I mean it's
Basically, how many whoopings have
I got a lot of whoopings.
Oh yeah.
I talked a lot in school,
Which
got in
is-
trouble a lot.
Which is also not being done a lot too. Like
Yeah.
that kind of
That's
obedience.
discipline, yeah.
Like we were just talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
It's considered what
Child
abuse.
abuse.
Child abuse now.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah, but obedience. You look at submission. First you submit to God, your pastor, and then your father or your mentor. And I feel like you have to have obedience. I mean,
Yeah.
if you don't have, if somebody can speak to you all they want and give you advice all they want, but if you're not going to listen and take that into action,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like people come to church 10 years and still not like fully get into church. They're just there. That all comes down to not submitting to God, not submitting to your pastor or the church in general.
I've heard people say like, I don't listen to man, I listen to God.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, that's your man of God.
Yeah,
Like,
man
God's
of God.
speaking- God's speaking to him
Mm.
through his word.
Yeah.
Like,
if you can listen to God, then what does His word say?
yeah.
You
And people are like, well, I just read it and the Bible talks to me. And like, so that man on the pulpit is not gonna tell me what to do.
I mean,
I've heard that, bro. And it's like, dude,
It's not good.
I feel like if they're not in the right doctrine, but being apostolics, like our pastors shouldn't, but most of them don't get their sermons off of a website. Like it is divinely given
Yeah.
through God,
Yeah.
by God,
Yeah.
in a prayer room. Like that's where they get all of their instruction to preach to you. And even though every service may not be catered to you, it's catered to an individual.
Someone that needs it.
Yeah, there's somebody that needs it in the congregation.
And they spend their time, like the pastors, spend their time studying and making sure that what they're like, and praying and all this, and making sure that they're taking the right steps to listen to what God is telling them. So there's already a filter anyway. Like there's like what God is telling them, and then now we have to apply it to ourselves.
Yes. I've seen a lot where you'll hear an evangelist, a preacher, like they'll say that they had a whole message
Mm-hmm.
and like 10 minutes before service, God just gives them a new message.
Yeah,
Just because there could be somebody that just decided to come and that really needs that message.
Right.
And ultimately obedience comes down to that, obeying God.
Exactly.
To where you're able to change, the hours that you put into that sermon,
Mhm.
just because God wants you to preach in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
we've talked about I guess you could say the physical stuff like obedience and what was it called, discipline. But so now, what spiritual things did you do like throughout your life? For where you're at now, helped you get to where you're at now.
I mean, spiritually, it comes down. If you just look at the main parts, I feel like prayer, and Bible reading, and both of those ways are avenues to get to God's word, directly to the Bible and through prayer. Feeling stuff. And there's times audibly. There's not much, but there is that time, and getting direct words from other people that God tells them to speak to you.
yeah.
But at the end of the day, prayer, reading your Bible, fasting.
Yeah.
If we go back to talking about the root of all evil, your flesh,
Yeah.
dying to your flesh.
Mm-hmm.
Your flesh wants food. And
yeah.
there's a lot of different fasts, but I feel like that when it comes down to it, like,
making yourself, I guess, not supposed to suffer or
you're dying to your flesh.
yeah.
But when it comes down to it, in the Bible, like, the fasting they did was food fast. Because that is, like, it's what your body craves the most.
Oh, yeah.
Like, even though you might want to do, like, a social media fast and whatever you want to call it, I call it a detox because it's not really a fast.
Yeah.
Um,
a new trend
I
now.
don't consider that. Like,
Yeah, you know, people post on their story, like, you know,
getting
doing
on
social media.
I'll be off for like 2 weeks, 6 weeks. Like,
Oh, man.
I always want to react like, no.
It's like personal stuff.
But-
Well, it's personal. Maybe that helps
maybe they
you.
do struggle.
Maybe that helps
And
you.
we're not saying, you know, it's bad, but
But I would call that more of a detox.
Yeah.
I think pushing the plate away is more.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. They're like,
Yeah.
there's different fasts, like the Daniel fast. I would call that a diet.
A Daniel fast.
I don't know what all it entails, but I feel like it's like not eating bread and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Some people do like sweets.
Yeah, and that's not a fast. Like,
That's more
like-
just a diet.
I'm
Right?
gonna just eat
Yeah.
steak. I'm gonna just eat steak instead of donuts.
yeah, like I understand. I feel like the whole fasting sweets stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like if you want to call it a fast, you can. But like it's really just
That's just
that's
everything.
physically helping your body.
Yeah.
That's like social media fast. That's physically helping your body.
Yeah.
But an actual fast, dying, pushing the plate, is a spiritual
Bro,
fast,
that
and that's where you get your most results. If you want to
bro.
say that.
What has been like y'all's longest day? If y'all don't mind sharing.
Mine-
Like I'll start off. Mine was 3 days. That second day, I feel like I was gonna die, bro.
Yeah.
It's just
God.
one whole day. That's
I
Mine's
couldn't
one whole
sleep.
day. Yeah.
I think I was like 2 to 3.
Bro, dude, I remember I was at Butter Group one time, and I don't know if this has happened to y'all, but I was fasting one day, and Preston at the time, he was my boss. He said, "Hey, you know, I just wanted to take some people out for lunch for some good work."
Hey, man, for that one
And
time.
I said, I can't, man. Like I'm busy. I don't want to say that. I'm busy. I just said like, oh, I can't. I gotta go to the schools. Oh, is all right. Oh, all right. And then I'm like, no, but my brother went, Josue went,
Yeah,
Carlos
everybody went, all your boys went.
bro, like I was so.
But I mean, that's ultimately, I feel like it would be a test in that
That's a
fast.
test right there.
Oh,
It's seeing
yeah,
if
I
you're
know.
gonna break your character.
That was
Yeah.
the devil, bro.
Yeah.
Preston was the devil that day. Hey, Preston was the devil.
It always happens whenever I guess you're fasting.
Yeah.
Your mom makes like your favorite
boss,
dish.
Yeah, your mom makes
Yeah, bro.
Mom,
Yeah, but that's ultimately like if you're really gonna fast and you're gonna commit to that, like no matter what
That's
gets
it.
thrown.
Right there.
And if you like look at that, I don't know if you want to look at that as a test or a trial, like that's helping you
That's what I
get
see.
to that.
That's how I see it.
So whenever you come to that spiritual test or trial that you're going through for your life, like if you look back, and I know it sounds silly, but like if you look back to whenever somebody was trying to pay for your meal, or you know your mom made your favorite meal and stuff like that, like ultimately that like little, if you want to call it a bump in the road, like I feel like really helps.
Oh,
Yeah.
You have a lot more faith.
Yeah.
I feel like you get a lot more after the fast too, because like
Yeah.
you know sometimes like if you're just not gonna eat for a day, like you know that's fine, but when you actually have that challenge in the fast, I feel like that helps really build. Like that's what fasting is all about.
Yeah. Yeah. I think also, I don't know if it's the devil's test. I think it's God testing.
Yeah, it's definitely
Yeah.
God.
I think it's God testing. But I remember another example, like we think about getting tested, but like we think about God getting tested while he was fasting as well
For 40 days.
for 40 days. The devil offered him the whole world, right, or something like that. And like you know, just like even God even God got tested.
Yeah.
So what makes you
That's
think that you're not
Yeah,
gonna
when
get like?
he offered him wait, in the Bible I think it says he told God, he like turn these stones into bread.
Yeah,
Yeah.
into bread.
Yeah.
into bread. Just test them and see, but
Yeah, and it
I
wasn't.
forgot who he was talking to.
Yeah.
Of course, he was probably hungry, and that's what
Yeah,
it
he
was
was
about.
hungry,
But at
yeah.
the same time, I feel like it was a test, and the devil was trying to get him to like
Yeah.
use your power. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But yeah, like definitely fast would be like, I feel like that meal that you know that you really want to eat, like
That
that's
one day,
really
yeah.
just God testing you
God
most of the
testing,
time.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
just trying to see how committed you are to that fast,
Right.
and
Yeah.
that's really a big thing, commitment.
Yeah.
relationships, fast,
Yeah.
spiritually, physically. Commitment is a big part of, if we want to tie that back to maturity, obedience.
Yeah.
We can tie all of the themes together using that.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal.
And I think commitment nowadays is very casual.
Yeah.
It's very like
not taken serious.
it's not taken serious.
If we look back,
Yeah.
what we were saying earlier about the attack on the father figure in the house, when you don't commit to stay with that child or that woman with the child, that's commitment. And ultimately, committing to God, committing to your family, your mentors. That's a big thing. Commitment.
Yeah.
I remember Brother Cox when he was here last year at Youth Commission when he was here?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Oh, they used. Yeah.
Brother Nathan Cox in
yes.
like 22, I think.
Yes.
He was preaching on commitment. Like it was something like people say, "Oh, but I'm struggling with this, but I can't do this." Like that's not a, how do you say it? He's like that's not a, he said it's not a spiritual issue. It's a commitment issue. Like, you're blaming on all these things that are attacking you, but like it's like, no, it's not that. It's just that you're not committed.
Yeah.
Like that's all it is. Like you just pushing the things away that you should be committed to. And I was like, man, bro, God. But the way he said it, I forgot how he said it. He said something before like that's not this issue. This is a commitment issue. But I can't remember exactly what he said.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh man, bro, it's so much of a commitment issue.
Yeah. And it's like my question is like why do people have commitment issues? Like what is it that makes people have commitment issues? I mean, I myself, like I know I'm like
and
liable
all of us,
to that.
Yeah.
But like
we say like we're committed to one thing, and I guess our emotions kind of change our mind. I would say.
I guess it depends on the scenario.
Mhm.
It depends if it's a relationship or trying to get.
And it
more
could be
weight
a bunch of things.
Yeah,
Like,
it could be
even
different,
fitness.
Yeah.
Even fitness.
It could
Like,
be a lot of different things.
Yeah. I feel like nowadays commitment, like, I don't know, we've seen it a lot in the younger community. When everybody's like, "Oh, I'm gonna pull up," and like 2 people come, but everybody like says they're gonna come.
Right.
And I feel like that's there's like a lot of false hope there.
Instead of that.
Yeah. I mean, even, it's like whatever, like if you're just going out to eat after service or like for stuff like that, people say that they are going to come and don't end up. And I mean, I'm not sure like where that.
Or using in like working for the church, like, oh yeah, like pastor, I can do this. You can count on me. Hey man, where you at? Like with the I got busy. Well, that's not really.
Yeah.
Commitment.
But commitment is a maturity issue, I feel like. Really,
that's probably what it is.
It says a lot about you too, bro.
Mhm.
Because you can say one thing and do the other, and it's like, okay, well, I can't really depend on this person,
Exactly. There we go. Yeah.
And it says a lot about your character, which is not good.
Yeah.
attitude is everything, as Pastor says.
Attitude.
If you wanna look at it, that commitment, like people recognize that commitment very quickly, and if you're not faithful, I feel like to just life in general, I feel you're not gonna be used in church as much because if you're not gonna be committed, you're not gonna be committed to church as much as that you should, which means you won't be used as much as you should. And I feel like the whole maturity and commitment just really makes a spiral downfall if it's not executed correctly. But even like physically in your life, if you're not committed to your job, you call out every day. Of course you're eventually going to get fired. You're not going to be working there anymore because they need a committed worker to do that committed task that you were hired to do.
Be there.
Yeah, and you look at it like that, and then you look at your job in the kingdom of God.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
I feel like one of the biggest issues right now for this, I feel like in this generation, and that I've seen as well, is like you said, the commitment to going to events for the church, especially like the younger ones. I don't know. I've seen a lot that they think they're old enough to do whatever they want, and even I think
They call it lame.
Yeah, they don't see the importance of actually going to youth events or going to whatever your youth leader says to go to, and they're like, oh, I gotta work, oh, I got something else to do. They think it's not cool to show up, I guess.
Yeah, they don't feel that it's necessary.
Yeah.
It really is that community in church, because I mean, realistically, you're only at church three days or 3 services out of the week.
Yeah.
If you have prayer,
Family prayer,
that'd be
which
4.
we have.
If you like wrap that up, just say like 2 hours of service. You know, that's 8 hours a week. You got 24 hours a day times 5, so you know it's about 1,000 hours, close to that.
Sure.
When you look that up, like that's not even a tenth. You're not at church a tenth of your week.
It's not, yeah.
And
So
when you
it's-
fail to commit in that fellowship with the church,
Yeah.
you're given more time to
So 24
world,
or
to-
24
to-
times 24 times 7, right? That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
So it's 168.
Oh.
168. Yeah.
I messed up a little bit. There we go. Yeah. And you know, you're having more time for other people.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying that relationships, friendships outside of the church are bad, but when you're given more time to that, then I feel like your actual community in the church that leads.
Priorities are wrong.
Yeah, your priorities are wrong, and ultimately, you know, that's just an opportunity
One of the
for.
biggest excuses I hear is like, oh, they're not gonna pay my bills. And it's like,
Oh
I-
God.
I hate-
Oh
like,
God.
like,
I don't want to do this if they're not gonna pay me.
Yeah, it's like I feel like it's the worst excuse you can get.
Yeah, it's so
Because
bad.
it's not just about showing up; it's about showing your love, you know,
Yeah.
and your commitment and your obedience to that leadership. That says,
Yeah.
okay, we're having this event that day.
And nothing we're doing is for us, bro.
Yeah.
It's
for the
not.
church.
Yeah, it's for the
And,
church.
For the greater good.
and the church is yeah, it's a building, but
Yeah.
that's just a building. We're the church. And if you say you're a part of it, you gotta be there.
You have
Because you know we're part of the body,
Yeah.
and we, you know, our body has to function together.
Yeah, like Paul was saying, you know, like even if you think you're the thumb or the pinky, like
Your toe.
you're still
The
needed.
big toe, yeah.
Yep, and you're still needed in your youth group. Yeah, for relationship wise, friendship.
Yeah. Well, okay, guys. I think that's a good spot. So,
Wrap it up, man.
Sure. Well, thank y'all for having me.
Yeah,
man.
thanks,
Appreciate
Yeah.
it for coming.
bro. We hope everything goes well in your marriage, man.
Yeah,
and life
man.
in general, bro.
Excited for you, man.
Oh,
Bro,
yeah.
and at 19, bro, like,
19,
dude,
yeah,
he's someone that I know personally that's doing
Yeah.
that, and that's why I couldn't wait to just hear him out, bro. Like how
Yeah.
all that went down and whatnot. So
Yeah.
get it clarified. I
So-
definitely learned something.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
You know, I wish I could have done this at 19, bro. But,
Yeah.
you know, everyone has a different chapter.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. It's only up from there, man. It's
Yeah.
only up from there.
Yes, sir.
And
Thank you, sir.
just to wrap it up a little bit, we did talk about Sid's story a little bit. We talked about discipline and the strength of that. And yes, when we talked about also like father figures, the importance,
Obedience.
the importance of father figures, especially nowadays, where it seems to be an attack on these sort of things.
Yeah, this generation.
Yeah, on this generation. Yeah, and then we talked about obedience, commitment, and you know we talked about a lot of good things this episode, and we know you guys will get something from it. So yeah, it's a good way to wrap it up.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
man.
Well, thank
Yeah,
y'all for
no
having me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bro.
man.
Thank you, man.
No problem, man.
Yeah. I